T Show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advice. Live long and prosper, bitches.
Are friends with benefits?
Speaking of having a good time, Terry.
Mm-hmm.
Dayton broke the G&T show. This is now the David Mack
Appreciation Hour. You assholes.
What is it about this guy that people love him so much?
With his purple velvet cape and his crown. I thought it was a little much when he had us carry him in the studio on a throne. I am awesome! Look what I have done! Look what I have brought upon the world!
There is an urge to go, nya.
I heard rumors that you might be working on something else, but we won't prod much. I was going to say it.
I'm going to pry a little.
Dare you! How dare you ask me to change it? Do you not understand the majesty of my genius? And the guy sitting next to me looked at me like he was, like I'd cramped in his hat.
Yeah, it's the professionalism that sells the show. That's right.
And welcome to another edition of the G&T Supplemental Logs. Here we are on this beautiful evening, and given Terry's outfit, given what we're going to be discussing, I think it's awesome. With her Sith cosplay on, it's Terry's show.
Hello, everyone.
And there he is in his, I don't even know what that is. I think he's trying to be the little Cupid boy from the REM Losing My Religion video. It's Ceridium.
Kapla.
And with her new side-swept bangs, we have Janine Spendlove.
Hi, you clearly have been trolling my Facebook feed.
It just came up. and the lovely Bryan Young as well.
Who do I talk to about getting erect at Gino?
That would be Ceridium.
That would be Soren.
Because he's the Klingon. I'm the Romulan.
And he knows how to work the machine. I don't.
He does. I have the Jaeger machine, the Romulan Ale machine.
Yeah, Klingons don't make it as good as Ferengis.
Wow, that's fighting words.
Ouch.
All I've got to say is that back in January, we went and had a British high tea in Anaheim in full Star Trek regalia, and not a single one of us ordered Earl Grey tea. Hot.
Oh,
nice.
I'm disappointed.
None of us wanted it. But were any of us in Next Gen uniforms, sweetie? Sorry, my husband's here. No, so it's okay. None of us were in Next Gen uniforms. We had
That's awesome.
Series Reboot and Voyager. So.
I love it when geeks get together. So, Terry, you want to start?
I think we can. Now, first off, we need to explain to our listeners who these two wonderful people are. And for those who do not know, Janine is one of the contributing writers of a project that we have been kind of talking off and on about.
I contributed.
And what?
I contributed like $60.
Oh, money you contributed. I'm like,
yeah.
What?
No, blood. Yes, money.
Only Klingon blood. That's all we accept.
Oh, my.
I was going to prefer gold-pressed latinum, but that's just me.
Yes, that's true. The rules of acquisition probably say I shouldn't accept blood. Sorry.
Somewhere Darshluga is squeeing.
That is true. She does squee, and she squees very well in a very Ferengi way.
She does.
Well, either way, the project we were talking about, it was Athena's Daughters. And if you guys remember, we talked about this wonderful Kickstarter project that had started, it's been some months ago, right?
Yeah, we did it over December and into January, and I, as the good Ferengi-inspired person I am, I did this hoping to capitalize on people wanting to shop over the holidays and getting Christmas money. I mean, because it's what the rules of acquisition say that I should do. And it worked, because it was the most successful prose anthology Kickstarter of all time. And I'll be quiet and let you finish your introduction now.
No, it's great. And as the most, successful anthology Kickstarter of all time, you did. You started off with an $8,500 goal, and you were able to get over $44,000. And because of that, not only did you fund the project that you wanted, and by the way, the project is a wonderful anthology of short speculative fiction by female authors, which I think is wonderful and amazing, of course, that it also actually...
Dayton Ward didn't write for it, so I don't understand.
Oh, honey, I'll talk to you about that later.
Okay.
I have a secret. that spun off a separate book that you guys have also funded called Apollo's Daughters, which is going to be, is my understanding, another anthology that features female characters but will be written by male science fiction writers. So I'm just very happy to have you here. And also, I want to make sure that I get this right, that we had a wonderful time talking to Bryan once before, but Bryan Young, welcome back to the show, this time actually recorded.
Yeah,
I know, that was an amazing 3-hour show that we didn't record.
Hey, don't feel bad. Bryan pulled that on us the other day.
Well, no, I mean, we weren't supposed to be recording this conversation we had.
Because somebody didn't show up, but we're not mentioning any names, Semper Fi.
I'm really sorry, okay? No, I suck.
And for those that don't know, very cool fact about Janine. Well, Janine, what do you do for your real job?
I am a United States Marine.
And you do what?
Airplanes in the sky. And currently, I'm the Marine Corps' congressional liaison to the House of Representatives.
And her and I bonded over the C-130J.
Yes, it's a beautiful aircraft.
It really is.
And I can't wait to get back to it this summer.
I know, you're so excited. I'm sorry, it's two military people talking military geek now.
Military geekdom, you gotta love it. You've gotta love it. Now, Bryan, can you explain you're going to be contributing to Apollo's Daughters, correct? Or both? In what capacity are you going to be helping them out?
So Janine decided when she pitched the idea of Athena's daughters, she said, Bryan, do you want to help? And I said, I'll help any way I can, but I think the men should get an anthology too if enough happens. And so Janine picked up on one of the rules of acquisition that every once in a while declare peace with your enemies because it'll confuse them. And she said, yeah, that's a great idea. And
it worked out.
Yeah, so
and
I'm going to be
out. I'm so excited. We're going to get more than one book, and it's going to be a couple of books put together by some really amazing writers. So congratulations, everyone.
Yes, thank you. So I'm editing that book and contributing a story, but some of the other contributors are people you guys are probably familiar with. Like David Allen Mack and guys like Aaron Rosenberg and some others.
I think that's
awesome.
It's really awesome.
I took money from Aaron, fake money, playing poker at Farpoint.
Aaron Rosenberg, we call him Aaron Prime, actually.
Although, sadly, I don't know if we have to. Oh gosh, I just got bummed out. I don't think we have to call him Aaron Prime anymore. But
he and I talked about it, and he will continue to be Aaron Prime.
Okay, good, because I was actually super bummed about that.
So is there an alternate Aaron?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, no. One of mine and Bryan's dearest friends and mentors, Aaron Alston, passed away 2 weeks ago exactly today. He's very well known for his work in the Star Wars universe and his Ashley books and his X-Wing books. And he was also going to be a contributor for Apollo's Daughters and was a big advocate behind the concept of Athena's Daughters as well.
And he and Aaron Rosenberg got together when we started getting involved and Aaron started getting involved with us, and we couldn't tell the two Aarons apart, so Aaron Rosenberg offered to be Aaron Prime.
I think more he claimed the title, I shall be Aaron Prime, and our beloved Aaron Alston did not dissuade him.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. He sounds like an amazing man. When he passed away, we definitely talked about it a bit on the show. A lot of our readers, or a lot of our listeners are readers, of course, of not just Trek material or Trek lit, but also Star Wars literature and other genres as well. So we send our condolences to you and to everybody again on his loss. I know it was quite a shock for a lot of people.
Thank you, and totally not trying to pitch another podcast on your show, but I'm just going to throw it out there.
You can do it. We fear no one.
We did just do a full memorial podcast for Aaron on Full of Sith. It was me, Bryan Young, Mike Stackpole, also known for his X-Wing books, and Ron Garner on that one.
Well, tell them they have a very cool name for a podcast, too.
So that would be, tell Bryan that.
Full of Sith is my Star Wars podcast.
We'll include a link in our show notes.
Absolutely. So let's get right to the beginnings of Athena's Daughters. Do we have an estimated date as to when we might be able to see the book come out?
No, we don't have an estimated date. It's coming along fantastically. So I'm not just a contributor. I'm also the project manager. We've got Jean Raby on board as the editor. She brought in some of the authors. I brought in some of the others. Maggie Allen, my co-project manager, brought in a few of the other. But overall, I've been the evil, crazy mastermind over this.
It's all your fault.
No, actually, it's all my husband's fault. He's the one who turned to me and said, you know, it would be great, an anthology, a science fiction and fantasy anthology, by, you know, all written by women about women. That would be awesome. The world needs that. And I was like, shut up and take my money, and on the phone immediately. So I just got the edit proof, the first edit proof with all the stories, sent it out to the authors. They're all turning in any of the typos or tweaks that they've found and are getting those back to Jean Raby, our fantastic editor, for this, and also a contributor. And then it's going to go, we should be we'll get the print layout done here shortly, and we should have a print proof in April, and then it'll go to the printers, and we will have the printed books in June. And definitely the ebook will be available, since I think half of our backers were going for just the digital only version of Athena's Daughters, so people should be seeing those this June. So
that's a full month. Fan-freaking-tastic. I'm very excited about that.
I'm sorry. Every time you say Jean's name, I think of Gene Rayburn, and I start hearing the Match Game theme in my head, and now I'm like, Big Bobby was so big.
So Bryan can talk about the Apollo's Daughters timeline.
Well, yeah. So Apollo's Daughters is all the stories are due. Actually, we're working to have everyone's story in May, and that it'll be coming out in the fall. So we weren't originally part of the Kickstarter. We were a stretch goal, and all of the authors who are contributing, or many of them anyway, are incredibly busy working authors like David Mack and whatnot. And so we've got a little bit of a longer timeline, and so Apollo's Daughter should be hitting in the fall. And the stories I've got back so far are really fascinating. The women are really, really interesting and varied from very diverse backgrounds and time periods, and I'm super excited about the book.
What's the most, for either of you, what's like the most interesting time period that somebody chose that kind of, you said, wow, never saw that coming?
So I've actually got a story, and I really don't want to spoil it, that was written by Alma. I hope it was Alma Alexander. If it wasn't you, Alma, I'm sorry for attributing it to you. I have a lot of stories. The book is clocking in at over 140,000 words right now.
Awesome.
Yeah, and because we hit all our stretch goals, so
that is very cool.
Anyway, so her story actually takes place in the past, in the modern day, in the near future, and like the ridiculous, we're talking tens of thousands of years in the future. And it's like an onion, or one of the Russian nesting dolls, in that first you get the super far version of the story. Version of the story, and then you open up the nesting doll, and the story, here you get a different aspect of the story, but it's the near future. And then you open up the nesting doll, and it's the modern day version of the story, you know, like the news reports. And then you get to the core of it, and it is in actuality what I believe happened, but I could be interpreting the story completely wrong. So for me, I just was reading this going, I'm not quite sure what I'm reading, but this is very fascinating, and I've not ever seen a story quite like this, and it's fantastic, and it perfectly portrays, and I'm a historian, so I really enjoyed this aspect of taking this event, and showing how it turned into, almost a religion, cultish type religion, the tens of thousands of years in the future, and then it was just some weird, like, news report in the modern day, and it was fascinating. So I don't know.
Very interesting.
There you go.
That sounds cool.
The one I was actually really surprised by was David R. George. And his story is set kind of Salem witch trials era, and I just didn't expect that. And it's got some magic and some sleight of hand in it. It's just it's really interesting. David Mack's story too. It's set like post-Cold War, post-Cold War Russia, or post-World War II Russia, in getting into the Cold War, and again, really cool sci-fi and fantasy elements, but just not time periods I'd expect when we say we're going to do a sci-fi and fantasy anthology. They both really threw me the kind of curveball I really like to see.
That's awesome. Now, did anybody really kind of I don't know, I want to say break genre from what we as consumers are used to seeing them write. I mean, did you have any science fiction authors who just went, oh man, I really want to dig into some fantasy on this, or, really kind of jump a new hurdle for this project?
Yeah, actually, so a lot of these authors for me were, I don't want to necessarily say new, because I was familiar with their work. And so some of them were fantastic, and they wrote something that tied into maybe a series that they've already had. Whereas others, this was the first time they'd ever written anything. And so that's what we try to do here. So a lot of our stretch goal authors were, you'd get one well-known author and then one new author. So this is the first time they're publishing. But for me, one of the fun ones was for Maggie Allen. Everything I've read by her for the most part has been, that fantasy-like stuff and time travel and things like that. And here she wrote something that was definitely science fiction. It's a fun little moon adventure. It's in the nearish type future where this young girl is going off to summer camp, and summer camp is at the moon, and she's obsessed with agriculture and growing things, and all that the moon has are rocks and adventure. So that was fun. It was fun to see Maggie do something different from what I was expecting. And of course, although I shouldn't be that surprised, she does work for NASA. And the person writing our forward, Pam Melroy, who's was an astronaut, a retired astronaut, and the second woman to ever pilot the space shuttle and to be a shuttleker. She read all the stories, loved them all, but her favorite was, of course, the moon camp story by Maggie.
Yeah, that's so freaking awesome. That is just very, very cool. Mike, do you have any questions? I don't want to stop on everybody.
Well, my question is, are we going to be able to purchase both anthologies after the fact, or was the only way to get our hands on them through the Kickstarter?
Actually, you can still purchase them. So, yes, you go to silenceinthelibrarypublishing.com, so silenceinthelibrarypublishing.
It'll be in our show notes.
.com. There is a purchase link for you to pre-order both books, the ebook and the print book. And it's the same price as what they were on the Kickstarter, but what you get for doing the Kickstarter was you got like about a bajillion free novels and short stories. So you're not getting all the perks that everybody on the Kickstarter got, which is kind of the, getting in early and contributing on the Kickstarter got you a lot. But you can order these books now. And once the books do come out, you'll be able to order them on Amazon. You can, any bookstore, obviously any convention that any of us are at, there's like over 40 authors at this point. So we're all going to have it.
Excellent.
Do you guys have any, go ahead, Nick.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, do you guys have any personal appearances planned? I know that, Janine, you were at, it's not Shore Leave, what was it? Farpoint. Do you have any?
After,
yeah. I was going to say, what other kind of cons might you be making appearances at?
Wow. Brian and I both have a lot, actually. The first, I'll be at Awesome Con here in Washington, D.C., and then
I'll see you there.
Yay! And I'll be there with Tim's on.
I'm sorry, Janine.
And Travel Tales. And
you know what? That's hurtful.
What?
No, Terry's being hurt.
I apologize. I apologize.
It.
I said I
remove your Sith armor, and now you have to sit there like you're Sky.
All right, fine.
But Brian and I will be, along with many of the other Athena's Daughters and Apollo's Daughters authors, at Origins Game Fair this summer in June. And the full list of my appearances and my signings is on my website, JanineSpendlove.com or WarOfTheSeasons.com. And I'm a guest at Comic-Con. I don't know how that happened, but I was at Diego Comic-Con for the first time, and of course Dragon Con and Con Carolinas, and I could just continue to name conventions, and I'm gonna and Congregate, but I'll shut up now. Brian, go ahead and tell yours.
The next big one I have is actually in April, and it's Salt Lake City Comic-Con's fan experience, and I'll be there debuting my new book, which is a children's illustrated history of presidential assassination.
Interesting.
And then after that, I'll be at Origins and San Diego Comic-Con and Dragon Con and Salt Lake Comic-Con proper, which happens in September, and hopefully a whole bunch of others in between.
That is very cool. I love that. I might end up having to schlep up to Salt Lake City now. I might just have to get that done.
Yeah, no, fan experience is gonna be great, and Most of the Next Generation cast is going to be there, actually.
Wow.
So,
oh my gosh, you have to show them the pictures of me and Ron dressed as Riker and Troy in our uniforms at Disney World, riding Space Mountain and pointing our phasers and tricorders at the camera.
I gotta do it. I need this picture.
Not that she was excited.
I think the better picture, the pictures that Janine and her husband got with William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy dressed as Han Solo and Princess Leia.
That rocks.
It was not planned that way, in all fairness. We were filming Star Wars Thriller and ran out of time, and we had to go straight from the filming of Star Wars Thriller to our photo op time, and then we did not have time to change. So we didn't plan it that way, but it is one of my most favorite pictures in the world, though. It's hilarious.
That's really amazing. That's very, very cool. And again, pictures I need in my life, so please.
It's the double take alone that William Shatner gave us.
God, Shatner, I never know what to expect out of that guy.
Yeah.
Ever.
We had that experience at Star Trek Las Vegas a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we did.
We went in expecting the Shatner experience, and he was humble.
Well, I had the opposite experience. I had to interview him for a one-man show he was doing, and I got 10 questions with him via email, which is how his agent said he wanted to do it. And, I agonized over what those 10 questions would be. I mean, you get 10 questions with Shatner, and you don't want to screw that up.
Right.
And so I spent like 3 days perfectly crafting what these 10 questions would be and sent it off. And he didn't answer a single question and wrote a completely unrelated side essay.
I bet he cut and pasted it from a previous thing.
No, I searched and searched and searched, and none of it was like, he just sat there at his keyboard and just vomited this out. And I ended up, the article I ended up writing, I tried to give him byline credit with me.
Did any of that say that he was climbing a mountain and he needed to make love to the mountain?
Make love to the mountain.
No, it was like this weird story about being sick. Like he was asked to do this Broadway show and he got sick and threw all of this vomit. It was very bodily fluids heavy. It was just weird, but I mean, you can't. It's Shatner. What are you gonna do? You know?
That's funny.
Go to Priceline.com.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was a dare to publish it. That is hilarious.
I did. I got it in, and it was fun. It was fun.
Well, you got more out of Mr. Shatner than I did out of Mr. Dorn. I was given the opportunity to interview Michael Dorn, and I did the same thing. I spent 2 days crafting all these wonderful questions for him, and then the editor who got the answers back said, "Yeah, I'm not even going to send them back to you because the answers are so bad. I'm not going to upset you." I was like, "Whoa!"
See, you just need to get that guy. You just need to get that guy on the phone. I did a phone interview with him, and we were booked for like 10 minutes, and then talked for like a half an hour.
That was Tim Russ. When we interviewed Tim Russ, we were supposed to do short, and I think it was my first question impressed him so much when I asked him about being on what's that show?
Spaceballs.
iCarly. iCarly.
Oh. He was the guy with the afro comb in the desert.
Oh my God!
I spent a day at a con. There was a con in Salt Lake a few years back called Conduit, and his table and my table were next to each other. And so we talked for like 5 hours one day, and he was signing and selling those Spaceballs photos.
Oh,
business.
no.
That guy likes to talk, and he's totally a Star Trek, what I like to call like a Star Trek, like utopian socialist. Like that's really how he is. And at a more conservative con in one of the reddest states in the country, it was so fun to watch his interactions with people because he would just like blatantly talk politics, and it was so fun.
We were our booth in Vegas last year was next to Garrett Wang, and all I can say is that guy's got a harem.
Yeah, he does.
Now, question because of what the subject of Athena's daughters and Apollo and Diosnes and all the daughters. As writers, what is your take on the lack or the statement that has been made? And I know this is the G&T show where we go off, Brian, you know that a Wonder Woman movie can't be made because they don't think the public would be interested in the female hero as the lead, Janine.
Wow. Aside from saying I think that's 100% crap,
You can curse on our show. It's okay.
Yeah, but no. That's just, there are so many things I want to say right now, and they are all vying for an opportunity to come out of my mouth.
I think the specific issue with the Wonder Woman movie isn't. I think that no one wants to see a female character as sort of the attribution everyone's put on it. But if you look at DC's movies over the last few years, they just don't have their act together across the board.
Exactly.
And with the kind of movies they're putting out right now, I don't want a Wonder Woman film in this climate.
Thank you. And here's the problem. Wonder Woman itself, a female-led movie is not the problem here. Right now, the problem is society. Women cannot win in this regard, and here is why. Because if a male movie does well, if men and women go to see a movie that's helmed by, say, Superman, a strong male hero, then they will say, oh, well, look, we don't need female characters because everybody's happy and going to these male characters. And then if you have a movie like, say, Wonder Woman, or let's actually look at Elektra. Oh, that tanked. Oh, Catwoman tanked. So clearly a movie helmed by a woman is not one that's going to be good. It's not one that people are interested in going to see. Never mind the fact that it was poorly written.
Thank you.
And that it was just a crappy movie, that those were crappy movies overall. But because those movies tanked, we can't have a movie helmed by a woman that will succeed. And so here's what happens. You do a crappy Superman film, and what's going to happen? A couple years later, they're going to reboot it and do it again.
In this case, they didn't reboot it. They made a really crappy one, and they're just going to keep going.
They're just going to or in this case, yes, like you said, they're just going to add some Batman to it and keep going.
Batman's awesome and Superman's a dick.
Okay, well, I don't
True
like
story.
Batman. We're not going to get into this. But my point is, like, we did Spider-Man 3, and it was awful, and they rebooted it immediately, and it was kind of lukewarm received. I enjoyed it, but a lot of people didn't. But there's
Spider-Man 3 was only partially awful.
Another Batman. There will always be another Superman. There will not always be another Wonder Woman. If they film a Wonder Woman, and if DC does it, as I'm using air quotes here, as well as they've done their last one, as well as they did Green Lantern, guess what's going to happen?
They'll never ever see.
They'll use the proof that a woman cannot lead, an action film. A woman can't lead a superhero action film. And
I think Marvel's just going to have to show them the way. You know, there's talk that Black Widow is getting her own film, and
damn time. And Captain Marvel too as well. Carol.
Yes.
Well, and then Marvel's putting on Netflix. They're doing a Jessica Jones show. So we're getting a Marvel super heroine who's getting her own show.
Right.
That's leading into that Defenders show. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has at least slightly more diverse representation than the Avengers.
The cast is equal. There's 3 guys to 3 girls.
Yes, they are diverse. I just wish the show had better writing, but that's another.
You know what?
It's getting better.
Did you see it Tuesday with Sith?
I just watched the Sith episode, and I love me some Jamie Alexander, but that made me not want to get back into the show. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. I watch it. I can't.
I do find it interesting that Marvel is so good with the movies, and the TV shows, it's getting better. But DC, with the exception of Christopher Nolan, who's never made a bad movie, and the Batman.
I beg to differ.
We'll go on this one later. What?
We do not speak of The Dark Knight. You will never win me over on that.
I think Christopher Nolan is probably one of the most humorless men alive. It's true.
Okay, Memento, outstanding.
He has never made a better movie than The Prestige.
Don't.
How can
I would say, let me finish my thought. But yet DC is doing an amazing job with Arrow, and then they're going into The Flash. They're so much better suited for TV. And Arrow.
I thought that was Daredevil.
No, it's Flash.
Well, his costume sure confused me.
But Arrow is an amazing show with Black Canary, who is a secondary character, but she's a main character there. And growing up, she was my favorite female hero, so it's really great to see her. And they've got Huntress on there, and Suicide Squad is coming, and they're going to have the Birds of Prey in the next year or two. So they're really doing a great job. So I don't understand why one can do the movies so well. Yeah, I do, because they're with Disney. Never mind.
It's the team.
Disney needs to buy DC, and the world will be happy.
I don't think Disney can afford to buy just about everything, but Warner Brothers is probably not something they could.
Are you telling me you didn't like insomnia?
You know what? I didn't see it, but it looked like it would have put me to sleep instead of kept me up. I think that's the only Christopher Nolan film I haven't seen. I really enjoyed Following. I think The Prestige is his magnum opus. I liked the first Batman Begins movie. The Dark Knight is pretty good, but it doesn't hold up to as much scrutiny. And The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises was just
What?
I'm a Batman guy. We can talk Batman. I love Batman. I adore Batman. Everything Scott Snyder's doing with Batman in the comics is just, it makes my heart happy to see what he's doing. And I love all this classic Batman.
Oh, zero year stuff? Awesome.
But Dark Knight Rises just didn't ring true to me as the character. And I understand Nolan was trying to take him in a different, humorless direction. But it had some structural problems. It had some character problems. And I'm not sure why, it just didn't sell me.
Mike, you can edit all this out.
No, you can't, and you won't.
It's staying in.
Now, I will tell you both, too. Terry turned me on to what is my favorite comic right now, Batgirl.
Yeah.
Gail Simone.
Captain Marvel? Oh, no, Gail Simone? Yes.
Yeah. And he blows me away.
The only time I enjoyed the Wonder Woman series is when she was writing it.
Yeah, I have to say, I just can't hold my Wonder Woman.
She's the only person who's made Deadpool interesting to me.
Really?
Yeah. She wrote...
Now you're making me want to go out and buy another comic book, damn it.
Well, she wrote...
Gail Simone has written.
It was called Agent M back then because they were trying not to pay Rob Liefeld for the rights to Deadpool right before his major resurgence, and it was one of the funniest books I've ever read.
And that's what I love about Batgirl is the humor in it, but it also all rings very true. It to me, she feels like a real character, like a real person.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been this good since Stephanie was Batgirl.
Yeah, agreed. And I really like and I'm with Janine on as well as I've also I was very excited to see the Captain Marvel, the Carol Danvers character, kind of evolve, and I haven't missed one of those.
Yeah, but I have a question about that. How old is she? Because she's supposed to be a colonel.
If she left the Air Force as a full-bird colonel, she's solidly in her 40s, which I think is awesome. Absolutely awesome. You've got a woman who is a superhero, a complete badass, and she's in her 40s.
I know.
There's nothing, when I saw that, I already loved the series, but when I realized that, I was like, hell yes. Punch this guy.
Yes.
Kelly Sue is amazing.
I actually cried at the end of the first comic book. I actually cried. I was like, I get it.
Terry, you cry at Geico commercials.
No, Alan cries at Geico commercials. I cry at, Kodak ads.
Do they still make ads? Or is that what they make
whatever
instead
they
of
were.
film?
Yeah, it's okay. I'm even going to rat Fink on my brother. I got to see my brother last night, and he came out. He cried at the Tool concert. There's my big manly brother. Came back. Oh my God, that concert was so amazing.
I can't say anything because I cried at the Who concert.
I was just in tears watching Lawrence of Arabia again. It was like,
well,
no, don't shoot him.
Arabia.
Yeah, it's true.
It was good.
Yeah.
Was it remastered or something?
Yeah. So the theater I went to go see it in, they just it's like the local nonprofit art house, and they just finished all their fundraising to install the digital projectors to replace the 35 millimeter projectors, and so they got the brand new 4K Lawrence of Arabia to play on their brand new projectors, and it was just utterly breathtaking.
I bet it was so pretty.
It was.
Was Anakin bored?
No, he was really into it. He really liked both of the orphans that Lawrence picked up, and I didn't want to break it to him how bad that was going to go.
Oh, God.
Ooh, yeah. Well, Nick, I have a question for you. I know. Actually, I was going to ask you if you had some questions.
I do. Go ahead and vamp.
Vamp.
He's got to find them.
He's got to find them.
Because I also have to. Because
see what I'm dealing with.
I can tell a hilarious story about Jonathan Frakes while we wait.
Oh, please.
Do.
So I interviewed him too, and I did a whole bunch of research looking into interviewing him, and about half the interview got spent discussing his days as Captain America.
Oh, I remember that he used to do that.
So he used to, like, one of his first jobs acting in New York was showing up to Marvel Comics on, like, a Friday, signing out the Captain America suit, and then they'd fly him out to, like, 7-Elevens and comic book stores around the country in the late 70s.
True. I heard about this.
And, yeah, no, he said it was, like, the best job in the world for an actor, and I actually dug some pictures up, and it's Frakes as Captain America in the 70s.
Are you crapping me? I gotta see this. I need this in my life.
I'll send you a link to the
Thank you.
interview I did with him.
That's probably one of my favorite stories.
I'll include it in the show notes.
Terry, tell them the name of your new ship in Star Trek Online.
Oh, it's the USS Riker's Joystick.
Oh, wow.
Because
I know, you're referencing the movie where he has a joystick, right? And he's flying the Enterprise, right?
Exactly, and not the least of which, it just happens to be a double entendre because I'm flying what in the game is called the Galaxy X. It's the Dreadnought that you see in All Good Things, so it's got the third nacelle.
Oh my gosh.
You just wanted to say nacelle.
I did. I admit it. It makes me giggle. It's like duty.
Oh my gosh. I was interviewing all these prospective individuals to come on the Hill, and almost to a T, every single one of them, and they're all Marines, and we asked them we're currently reading. And of course, what are they all reading? Secretary Gates' book, Duty. And like, every time they'd say that, I'd be like, be professional, Janine, do not giggle. But, you know.
You just hear the snicker, the under the breath snicker. Oh, that's awesome.
You're a professional officer in the Marine Corps. You do not giggle when somebody says duty, except I do every time.
I'm giggling up a storm right now. That's awesome. All right, Mr. Minetti.
It's not in the Dropbox anymore. What happened?
Oh, don't frighten me.
I'm telling you, it's not in the Dropbox anymore.
Uh-oh.
Duty.
Oh, I wonder. Let me see if I might have it. Do you have
wait a minute. Found it. Okay. Mike, you can edit all that out. Okay, now see, these were actually written for like when we have the Star Trek authors on. So I can keep them the way they are or try and massage them for you. So do you want them as is or do you want me to massage you?
It's your choice, but I warn you not to underestimate my powers.
Okay.
Sorry.
What am I supposed to be doing here?
Oh, God.
Well, we have a set of questions that we typically ask our authors that we bring in as guests.
I call them my
James Lipton inside the Actors Studio.
Yes,
I got where you're going.
Yeah, they're kind of like that. And now he was going to kind of tweak them because most of them are geared for like Star Trek authors, but he wanted to see if you wanted to have them tweaked or if you wanted us to go as is.
I'm totally okay. If they're Star Trek related questions, I could answer those, I'm sure. I don't know. I'll just make something up. We're writers. That's what we do.
Sure, if Brian, anything he can do, I can do better.
Oh, it's on. Okay.
That's a damned lie.
First question. What's your favorite Star Trek series?
Oh, that's easy, Voyager.
Deep Space Nine.
Ryan's winning.
What?
That is so not true.
So your scoring system is skewed and wrong.
It's not.
I totally
Janeway's
agree.
a negative.
Oh, you shut your mouth right now.
Thank you.
Janine, come on, she's schizophrenic.
Not like Cisco. Oh, I'm a god.
Oh
my god.
Don't even start. Okay.
Well,
I'm gonna ask our guest because I'm gonna ask our guest. Terry calls Cisco a deadbeat dad.
He is. He totally walked out on her.
No, he died a hero's death, and the prophets pulled him into the celestial temple.
Whatever.
I think Jake is probably one of the most well-adjusted children I've ever seen on any science fiction show.
And the only reason I even watched Deep Space Nine was for war. So, no. Deep Space Nine, suck it. Voyager all the way.
Okay, Neelix fan.
Excuse me, there will be, when I see you next, I will take back your words.
I know, she's going to drop me for push-ups.
I love her.
I have a profile. If you could be any any species in Star Trek other than human, what species would you be?
Trill.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Trill also.
Janine, you would look good with spots, I gotta say.
My next body would look good with spots.
He didn't care. Man.
If you were given an opportunity to write an open-ended series based on one character in Star Trek, who would it be?
That's a tough one because my joke answer is I want to do Christian Slater, or like the Excelsior's cabin boy, which was Christian Slater. But man, I don't know. I would just want to do just Vic Fontaine.
Oh.
Bryan is like the coolest guy we've ever had on.
No, I have a total
Janine?
tie here. I would either want to do Dax, not like Jadzia or Ezri or any of the previous hosts, the actual symbiote Dax, and all of it live. Or, honestly, I'm very curious to know about Seven of Nine's life and her adjustment and everything.
Kristen Byer's Voyager series that she's been writing is phenomenal. I just finished the newest book.
In all honesty, I would love a buddy series with O'Brien and Bashir.
Yeah. They have those. It's called Slash.
Not that kind of buddy. But no, I loved how in the finale of Deep Space Nine, their relationship got to have, like, the montage sequences of them saying goodbye. Like, that's how cool their relationship was.
But see, the problem is Bashir is in it.
Oh, wait a minute. That's a character who was despicable at the start, and by the end, I think was one of the best Trek characters.
I'd rather watch...
Ladies and gentlemen, that's how a Marine officer answers questions.
Oh, I love her so very much.
You know who you don't hear answer questions like that? Gibbs, just saying.
Yeah, but you do, so that doesn't...
I know, right? No, I get the Gibbs slap.
What does that say about the Army? Okay.
I get the Gibbs slap. Okay, any author, it's not Star Trek, what author's books do you, quote, run out to get when released?
Oh,
Kurt Vonnegut. Seriously, even the ones he's been doing posthumously are fantastic.
He's like Tupac.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, you're a writer for that long and you only put out like 15 books. You've got a wealth of material that the estate can put out.
Oh, that is too funny.
Yeah, I love how Brian and I both said authors who've passed away. So for me, Aaron Alston, and there is still stuff of his that will be coming out, and I will be running to the Amazon link to buy it.
That's cool. That's cool. I think the Vonnegut one cracked me up, though. I'm sorry.
Is there a genre you have not written or published yet, but would love to try?
No. My husband just suggested an answer that is very wrong.
Erotica?
I was going to say porn.
Yes.
I remember him being funny at Farpoint, too.
No, honestly, gosh, dang, I think I don't know, Brian.
Yeah, you have. You've written a whole lot of different...
just about every genre.
I keep trying to crack high fantasy. Every time I sit down to write some high fantasy, I end up writing something else.
I haven't done anything pulpy. That would be fun.
Pulpy is fun. Yeah. But no, like I've plotted out like half a dozen high fantasy stories because high fantasy is popular and I enjoy it and I really like, role playing and stuff, and just nothing comes out when I try to write that. I end up with like weird steampunk World War I stuff or
I haven't written steampunk either, but no desire. So, and I like the stuff you write, Brian.
I appreciate those kind words, Janine. That check is in the mail.
Now, when you say role play, oh, never mind.
No, not like that. Not like that. No.
I know I want to quote Pulp Fiction, but I'm not going to.
I don't understand. She's the first person we've ever had hold back on our show.
I know.
Larry Nemechek found out he could swear, and boy, it was off to the races.
It was awesome.
I guess I'm just used to doing a clean show,
yeah.
So like I'm.
That's not us.
I don't mind you guys not being.
That's
we purposely.
Brian.
Okay, captains, what's the name of your starship? The USS
Franklin Roosevelt.
Of course.
I'm a total Star Trek utopian socialist. I'm sorry, Janine, and so was Roosevelt.
Mine's
the USS Roosevelt.
Mine's the USS Sacagawea.
Oh, very cool.
Sack of what?
Oh my gosh. That or the Abigail Adams.
Oh,
see, mine was my first ship in Star Trek Online was the Ada Lovelace Byron. I liked her.
See, now I will tell you guys, and Terry and I have both done this. I had the USS Dayton Ward, the USS David Mack, the USS Marco Palmieri, the USS Kevin Dillmore.
I still have the Kevin Dillmore, yeah.
My Intrepid class was the USS Kristen Byer.
Well, I'm not going to be happy until you have a USS Janine Spendlove. Just saying.
You know what? I think that's
that could be my sovereign class, since I can't name it the Getty. See, all my ships on my other character are the USS Gettysburg, but yeah, I could do that.
Sweet. See, how do you like them apples, Brian? I'm getting a ship named after me.
Congratulations. Am I supposed to be jealous?
Or, yes. Janine, do you mind if I take your name, translate it to Rihansu and name my Romulan ship.
Romulan ship.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I don't know how you're going to translate Janine, but okay.
It can be done.
All right, then.
Do you have a favorite adjective? Do you overuse it? And is there an adjective you loathe?
Yes.
Thank you for playing.
Was it? That's a new question.
You wrote these.
I did.
I don't know. I don't loathe any words.
Yes, you do.
Like what?
You don't like massive.
No, I don't like using it personally. You're right. That's actually, you're right. She's right. It's massive. I don't like massive. It's so generic.
You actually like the word whatnot, which isn't even a real word?
I do like whatnot. That's a fine word. My favorite words are really obscure word no one's ever heard of that I keep trying to bring back and get into print, like mingent, which means like having a urine smell to it, or foofara, which is a synonym of like brouhaha.
Wait, was that mingent? So in other words,
mingent.
So it smells like Kronos.
Yeah,
Hey.
yeah. No, Kronos smells like a smoking crater.
You hear Mike go, hey!
And foofara is another. I've actually smuggled foofara into print like 4 times, and I'm so happy about it.
You know, a little known fact, I did time for smuggling foofara.
Yeah, I knew that actually. It's not that little known.
Janine, you?
I don't know. Brian, what word do I loathe?
Moist? I don't know.
No, this is not words that sound dirty but aren't.
I read somewhere that moist is one of the most loathed words in the dictionary. So it was like Wheel of Fortune. I was going like RSTLNE? I don't know.
Sweetie,
Why is it
Is there a word that I loathe or that a word I overuse? I know there's got to be one. I just can't think of it because my brain is...
Sure, your husband can tell us words you overuse.
Words that you loathe.
Yeah.
Written by Brian Young.
Well, it's not.
There are plenty of words I loathe. Like when people use the word irrespective or regardless, because they're not words.
They're not words. That's exactly right.
Supposedly?
And yes. Oh, and the other one that drives me absolutely bonkers is when people say I'm nauseous, and I just want to strangle them. So yes, you are nauseous. I'm going to go vomit now.
Your nauseousness has made me nauseated.
Yes.
Terry, before we get to the final one, the big finale one, do you have any you wanted to throw in?
No, I'm still trying to control my bladder. Thank you.
Mike, you?
I'm good.
Okay. If you were given the green light by CBS to kill a major Star Trek canon character,
Janeway.
would you pick?
Neelix.
Wow.
And who did you say?
Neelix. Didn't even think about it.
I would re-kill.
They've been waiting for that question to be asked.
I would re-kill Kirk to do it so it wasn't just like, oh, this bridge. Oh.
Yeah.
And some foam rock. And
See, he could kill Janeway now that she's alive again in the novels.
we do not speak of that.
I don't know.
She's alive again?
The fact that she was killed.
It was wonderful. The universe was freed from her obsessive-compulsive need to only care about 5 or 6 people and not the rest of the crew that died on the voyage.
I just thought it was freed from her terrible Katharine Hepburn impression.
Oh my God!
You know that they
Brian
don't let Katharine.
will be fighting next time.
You know they don't let Katharine Hepburn play on the celebrity softball team because she shakes off all the pitches.
Dude.
Michael J. Fox.
Not okay.
Dude.
She's
Oh my
dead.
God.
That's why they don't let her on the team.
Yeah, that might have something to do with it.
you guys with your logic. Now we've had some interesting answers. My least favorite is of course Christine Thompson's answer, who answered her just to spite me. She was going to kill Ezri Dax.
Right.
I'd be fine with that. I don't care.
No, you are a mean lady.
I don't care if Ezri dies. That's the point of the symbiote. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
I didn't mind Jadzia dying, but don't touch Ezri.
I was
didn't mind
heartbroken.
Jadzia
Jadzia
either.
died.
You were pretty broken about Jadzia?
I was, yes. I was broken up about Jadzia, and I wanted to hate Ezri so bad.
But you couldn't.
I couldn't.
Actually,
It's a very stupid choice in men. So there you go.
Who, Worf?
She didn't pick Worf.
She didn't pick him, but she sure slept with him.
Yeah, that was.
she rode the ridge.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's what now I'm going to get second glances about, see, the idea I had about the adult line of toys.
Oh, that's right.
wow, this show is definitely going in a direction I...
It's okay. It's typically how we ended off anyway.
You should hear us live at Sunday mornings at 9.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Well, we do...
Show.com. Terry,
we do need to tie things up.
Stepping on my cheap plug, Terry.
Yeah, it was a cheap plug.
God.
I know. Well, speaking of not cheap plugs, how do we get people to order books for Athena's Daughters and Apollo's Daughters?
Or your other things.
And any of your
SilenceLibrary.com for everything pretty much that Bryan and I have written, and for Athena's Daughters and Apollo's Daughters. You can also go to my website, JanineSpendlove.com, and if you don't know how to spell that, that's fine. Just go to waroftheseasons.com, but it's all just how it sounds.
These people know how to spell Melvar, Janine.
This is true.
Oh, gosh.
Melvar.
No.
Brian, where can people find your stuff?
Thank you, Janine.
BryanYoungFiction.com. You can get signed copies of my stuff. Silence in the Library has my stuff.
That's B-R-Y-A-N, correct?
B-R-Y-A-N fiction. BryanYoungFiction.com. And you can find my writing on the official Star Wars website, on BigShinyRobot.com, where I'm the editor-in-chief, or you can just follow me on Twitter, which is @SwankMotron, and I will direct you to everything you want to be directed.
Sweet.
You can follow me on Twitter, too, but I'm only there hit or miss. If you really want to interact with me, Instagram or Tumblr is where it's at.
Sweet. And your Tumblr account?
I think I'm Janine K. Spendlove on there. JANINEK Spendlove. Just how it sounds. Yes, I've heard every joke about that in the book ever since I was a kid.
Yeah, I understand. My last name was Frederick. I was known as Fred for the first 12 years of my life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, whatever.
I love my last name. Don't get me wrong. It's super fun.
There will be links in the show notes.
Thank you again.
Hey, thank you. This was fun. This is my first Star Trek show.
Well, and it hopefully won't be your last. So come back, spend time. And if you guys get to, if we get to come across you at any of the cons that you're attending, don't forget to say hi.
Same. And I appreciate your guys' support for Athena's Daughters and Apollo's Daughters. It means a lot for us, to us and to all the writers and to everybody involved. And, and this was a lot of fun. I enjoyed getting my Star Trek geek on. I don't get to do it very often.
Well, it was a blast.
Man,
thank you. What?
A series with Garrick. That would be fun.
Oh, my gosh.
Sorry. Thank you guys for having us. I don't get to talk Star Trek. I do a Star Wars podcast, so I really never get to put my Star Trek on.
Brian,
Did you read A Stitch in Time by J. Robinson?
I have no idea what's going on right now.
I don't either.
Brian, let's hijack a Full of Sith episode for April Fool's Day and make it a Star Trek podcast for that day.
That could be fun. I'll have to talk to the fellas. That's coming up pretty quick. But I don't like. I always get called in. I always get called in to talk adversarially about Star Trek, and then people are surprised that I have a fondness for it, and I love it. Like so at San Diego Comic-Con, I did the Star Wars versus Star Trek psychology panel with some psychologists and John Champion and John Champion.
Oh, John Champion!
And I totally. Do you know Star Wars? We kicked his ass.
You know Mary Schwinsky?
Oh, you do know Mary. You know John. You know Mary.
Okay.
She's the Empress. She's my Empress.
He pathetically kneels in front of her every time.
Every STLV.
It's true. Well, again, thank you two for joining us so very much. People who've been listening to Janine Spendlove and Bryan Young, they've here for the project is Athena's Daughters, which is a fantastic anthology of science fiction and fantasy about women by women, and the follow-up book, Apollo's Daughters, which is science fiction and fantasy about women by men. So give us all the links will be provided in our show notes. Head over to gntshow.com, and when this is live, you should be able to link up as you wish. Nick, you want to take us out?
Okay. Mike?
Yes?
What is it you always say when we say goodbye?
Oh, kapla!
Klingons. That's all I got to say. Terry?
Goodbye.
Janine?
Kapla!
Brian?
Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.
Joel on True.
GNT Show is a Busy Little Beaver production.
Music for the GNT Show is provided by Warp 11, Grethor, 5 Year Mission, and Andrew Allen's Smooth Federation.